Hello everyone, welcome to Lukmaan IAS. Today we are going to have the Hindu newspaper analysis dated 19th of July 2023. And in today's discussion we are going to discuss many topics that are important for the prelims and mains exam. And yesterday one of the student has commented like how do we read newspaper, how do we retain information after reading newspaper, okay. So for you I would like to share one important aspect that keep reading the newspaper on your own, in your free time, and also what you can do is after reading the newspaper you can watch our discussion so that you can understand the topic well, and also you can download the PDF from the description of the newspaper, okay, from the description of the YouTube videos, and keep those PDF for revision purposes, because it is very difficult to make notes while reading newspapers. I understand that, but if you keep reading, it will automatically come in the subconscious mind and you will be able to recall them in the examination hall or during exam time. So it is very important to keep reading it so that you get the sense how the things are changing, means what topics are coming. You will be understanding all of that. So with this, let us start the discussion for the day. So today I have included around 10 topics, okay. 6 of those topics are mentioned over here, and these topics have been taken from the Hindu newspaper and the page numbers are mentioned over here. Apart from this, these are the 4 additional topics, okay. So many of these topics are important for the mains exam, and some of these topics are also important for the prelims exam. And we have also included questions for the prelims and mains exam. I am going to explain the solution of those questions as well, okay. So with this, let us start the discussion. Let us take the first topic for the time being. So this is topic number 1. It says India, France, and what keeps their ties tickling, okay, or ticking. So this article has been written by one of the author, her name is Suhasini Haidar, and she is considered to be an expert in international relations. And the articles that she writes are very, what we say, very eye-opening articles related to international relations. So in this article she has discussed about the, let's say, ties between India and France, and we are going to understand about India-France ties, okay. So let's start the discussion for today's topic. Topic name is India, France, and what keeps, okay, what keeps their ties ticking. Okay, this is the name of the topic. So let us start the discussion on this topic, okay. India and France and what keeps their ties ticking. So in this article, she has discussed about the ties that we share, India shares with France, okay. So let us discuss about that thing. So recently you might have noticed that the Prime Minister of India has visited France, okay, and this is not the first time that Indian Prime Minister has visited France, and many a times the Prime Minister of France has also visited India, okay. So Prime Minister of France has also visited India. So in that respect we need to understand about India-France ties, and recently they have, let's say, agreed upon certain things, the things that include, let's say, Rafale fighter planes, okay. So Rafale fighter planes. So we are going to discuss about Rafale fighter planes also. Rutu Mane, good evening. So thank you so much for joining. So we are discussing the first topic for the day, okay. This topic is about India-France ties, okay. So in this article we will talk about how the India-France ties has been working over the years, and recently the government of India has shared some of the things, some of the things with France, and France government has also shared some of the things with us, and we have also agreed upon certain measures. So we are going to discuss about it. So let us discuss about the introduction, okay, introduction part related to the India-France ties. So the India-France ties extends for a period of, let's say, more than 25 years, okay. So it is more than 25 years that India-France ties have are there. And India has signed an agreement with France in 1998, which is known as Strategic Partnership Agreement, okay. So India has signed an agreement which is known as Strategic Partnership Agreement. Partnership Agreement with France. Strategic Partnership Agreement with France in 1998. Okay. So many a times the President of France has visited India, and Indian Prime Minister have also visited France many a times. Apart from this, France is a time tested, okay, France is a time tested partner of India, and so in this article they have mentioned about some of the areas also. So Vaibhav Mishra, good evening sir, due to some reason I missed previous classes, thank you very much sir. Okay sir, what is the live session thing? I will join at live timing. Okay, so Vaibhav, basically we are conducting the live discussions of the Hindu newspaper analysis at about 7 p.m. every day, and also sometimes we record the video in advance at 3 p.m. and we air the video, we premiere the video at about 7 p.m. So whenever we are conducting it live, you can join us like this, or otherwise you can watch the, let's say, premiered video at about 7 p.m. every day. So that's the timing for the video discussion. So here we are discussing about India-France ties, right, and what keeps their ties to be strong. So Suhasini Haidar has written this article, and she has mentioned that India-France ties is not new. It's been more than 25 years that we share a common understanding on many things, and also France has showcased itself to be a time tested partner for India, and we have signed an agreement with France which is known as a Strategic Partnership Agreement 1998. Okay, we have signed this particular agreement with France in 1998. And you might be knowing in 1975, right, in 1975 the Prime Minister of President of France has visited India, and the Indian Prime Minister had received that person, and then emergency was also imposed in India. Okay, emergency was imposed in India during the Prime Ministership of Prime Ministership of Indira Gandhi. So that emergency, even after that emergency, I mean many countries had condemned India, but the French people, I mean, did not raise their voice against it. I mean although it is an internal matter. So after that particular incident, what has happened, I mean India has done a nuclear test. Okay, India has done a nuclear test which was known as nuclear test number 2. Okay, nuclear test. The name of this particular nuclear test was Pokhran 2. Pokhran 2. And that nuclear test that was conducted at Pokhran, okay. So the Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee, I mean he has announced that India has conducted this particular test, and now India is a nuclear weapon state. Okay, India has declared that it is a nuclear weapon state. And soon after that, India was, I mean the United States of America led an alliance to put sanctions over India. Okay, to put sanctions on India. Sanctions on India. But the France never joined. Okay, the France never joined this particular sanction. France never joined this particular sanction thing. France, along with 2 other countries, they were let's say UK and Russia. Okay, so there were total 3 countries, one France, then United Kingdom plus Russia. They, although they have condemned India for its Pokhran test 2. I mean this Pokhran test, it was condemned not like many countries, that includes United Nations Security Council also, okay, in United Nations Security Council. So along with that, many other countries have condemned India for the nuclear test that it has done. But soon after that, the United States of America has put sanctions on India, and that sanction, I mean that sanction was not approved, or was not followed by these countries, that includes France, UK and Russia. This also showcases the kind of relationship that we have, okay. So this is the thing, this is an important part. Apart from this, if we talk about the relationship, the philosophy behind the relationship. So what is the philosophy behind the relationship that India has with France? Okay, this philosophy is based on 3 pillars, okay. So I am going to talk about those 3 pillars of philosophy of relationship, okay. Philosophy of India-France relationship, okay, of India-France relationship. So let's discuss about these. These 3 philosophies are very important. One of the philosophies says non-interference in each other's internal affairs, okay. Number 1, non-interference, okay, non-interference in each other's internal affairs. You might have noted that if anything happens around the world in any country, many countries join as a group in condemning these things. But France and India believes if something happens in India, France believes that we should not interfere into the internal affairs, into the internal matters of India. And similar is the opinion of India also. India also believes if something has happened in France, so this is their internal matter and they can resolve it themselves. We should not enter into that thing. You might have noticed that recently, I mean some violence has been going on in Manipur. The Prime Minister of India has visited France, but France government did not take up that issue with the Prime Minister of India. And also in France, there was an there was one particular person, I mean a school kid, I think he was killed, right. It was a kind of racial activity, okay, racial killing, and related to that, huge amount of protest has happened in France. But these 2 leaders did not interfere into each other's things. So this showcases non-interference in each other's internal affairs. This is one of the philosophy of the ties that India has with France. Apart from this, we have that steadfast belief in the strategic autonomy and non-alignment, okay. So second philosophy is steadfast, okay, steadfast belief, okay, steadfast belief, okay, in strategic autonomy, in strategic autonomy, in strategic autonomy and non-alignment. This is the second point related to India-France ties, and also apart from this, we are going to discuss about another point, very important point. This is the third point. It says a refusal to pull the other into its own, a refusal to pull the other, okay, a refusal to pull the other into its own coalitions and alliances, into its own coalitions and alliances. Okay, so these are the 3 important philosophies, right, that India and France share with one another. One thing is says non-interference in each other's internal affairs. Second is steadfast belief in strategic autonomy and non-alignment. Okay. Third is a refusal to pull the other, means let's say France joins one grouping. Let's say France has joined the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, but like it will not be pulling India that you should also join this organization or NATO plus. Okay, so this is one of the belief, I mean, like, you know, these are the, let's say, philosophy on which the India-France tie is built upon. Okay, so this is a time tested thing, and like, you know, India and France has showcased, let's say, like, you know, maturity in the relationship that it has. And also what has happened, like, you know, Paris conference was done, Paris conference on international economic cooperation. Okay, so there was a Paris conference on international economic relationship. Okay, international economic cooperation, international economic cooperation 1975. Okay, so what has happened, I mean, like, you know, after the Yom Kippur war, a warfare has happened, like, you know, that name of the warfare is Yom Kippur War. So after that war, what has happened, I mean, like, you know, the oil supplies in many countries have reduced, and after then the France has conducted Paris conference. Paris is the capital of France, so France has conducted Paris conference on international economic cooperation 1975, and India has, let's say, like, participated in that particular conference also. And if we talk about the present ties, like, you know, presently what are the issues on which, like, what are the areas on which France and India cooperates with one another, these areas include, okay, the areas of cooperation. If we talk about areas of cooperation between these two countries, France and India, the areas of cooperation include nuclear power or nuclear energy, right, nuclear energy, defense and space. Okay, nuclear energy, defense, space, like we can say science and technology in the sense, like, you know, we are also cooperating with France related to Rafale. Okay, Rafale thing. So these are the areas on which, like, India, France is cooperating with one another. And recently what has like, you know, what has happened in 2008, right, after India has done, let's say, like, you know, India has done this Pokhran 2 test. Okay, so if I talk about Pokhran 2, okay, Pokhran 2, I mean, like, you know, it was a nuclear test, and after this nuclear test was done, many countries have, let's say, like, you know, banned India for like, you know, for doing any trade activities with reference to, like, you know, many countries have banned India for doing any kind of trade activities, right, related to nuclear energy. Okay, but the thing is, like, France was one of the country that, although it had condemned India, but, like, you know, it was the first country to sign a civil nuclear deal. Okay, to sign a bilateral civil nuclear, okay, civil nuclear deal with India. And you might have known that the nuclear supplier group, there is a, I mean, like, you know, international grouping which is known as nuclear supplier group. Okay, nuclear suppliers group. Okay, suppliers, NSG, it is in short known as NSG. This nuclear suppliers group have also put sanctions, it has put, let's say, ban on India, like, you know, that these group people, they will not do any kind of trade in nuclear, let's say, energy or nuclear fuel. But in 2008, the nuclear suppliers group has given some relaxation to India. What it has done, it has given some relaxation to India. And after that relaxation, after that, like, let's say, relaxation, what has happened, the France has signed, okay, France has signed a civil nuclear deal. Okay, so like India and France, they have signed, India, France have signed civil nuclear deal, under which, like, you know, France was transferring some of the nuclear, let's say, like, material to India, and India was, let's say, allowing France to do some inspection. And apart from this, India has also signed, okay, this particular agreement, which is known as civil nuclear agreement with United States of America. The name of the civil nuclear agreement with USA, okay, is known as 123 agreement. Okay, it is known as 123 agreement. So 123 agreement is signed between India and the United States of America when in the year 2008. And under this 123 agreement, what India has done, I mean, like, I'm just deviating little bit from the top, from the India-France ties to showcase, like, you know, how the civil, civil nuclear agreement, which is civil nuclear deal. Okay, India and USA has signed which deal? Civil nuclear deal. So why do we write the name as civil nuclear deal? Because, like, you know, whenever a country transfers some nuclear technology to the other country, the first country is of the suspicion that the nuclear technology that we are transferring to the other country, they should not use this nuclear technology for developing nuclear weapons, for making nuclear bombs. You are understanding? So that's why the 123 agreement that USA has signed with India. So under that agreement, like, India has, like, you know, India has committed to USA that we will allow, right, we will allow International Atomic Energy Agency, IAEA, to do inspection, okay, to do inspection in our nuclear power plants, okay, in our nuclear power plants, so that, like, you know, they can be assured that, like, India is not proliferating the nuclear fuel for making nuclear weapons. Because you might be knowing the fuel that we used, okay, that the fuel that we use in nuclear power stations, right, the same fuel, if it is enriched beyond a level, it becomes weapon grade, and that can be used for nuclear bombs. So that's why there is an international organization which is known as International Atomic Energy Agency. And this International Atomic Energy Agency, like, you know, all the member countries of International Atomic Energy Agency gives authority to the International Atomic Energy Agency to conduct inspection in the nuclear facilities, so that this particular organization and the world at large can be rest assured that, like, you know, we are not proliferating nuclear weapons, we are not, let's say, like, you know, enriching the nuclear fuel to make nuclear weapons, because the world wants a nuclear free state. Like, you know, world wants a nuclear free state, and, like, those countries who have already acquired nuclear weapons, they do not want to give up their nuclear weapons, and those countries who do not have nuclear weapons, they are trying to get it, but, like, you know, the existing nuclear weapon countries are opposing, let's say, like, you know, acquisition of nuclear weapons by new countries, okay. And for that, like, we have the nuclear suppliers group that we have already discussed, okay. So this is the thing. So these are, like, you know, some of the important aspects related to, like, India and France ties. And apart from this, right, if I talk about the Ukraine war, recently the Ukraine war is happening, okay, Ukraine war is happening. Ukraine war means, like, Russia and Ukraine are fighting, and Russia has done aggression, like, you know, they have sent its forces inside the territory of Ukraine, and then Ukraine is defending itself, and it is also seeking help from many countries. And the the, let's say, president of Ukraine, Mr. Volodymyr Zelensky, he has been also trying to get the membership of North Atlantic Treaty Organization, and still, like, you know, this particular Ukraine has not got membership of NATO. And one of the reason why Ukraine was not still given the membership of NATO, because that, like, you know, North Atlantic Treaty Organization has an has a clause under Article 5 that talks about collective security. It talks about collective security, means an attack on any one of the existing member states of North Atlantic Treaty Organization will be considered an attack on all the existing member countries of North Atlantic Treaty Organization. In that case, they will help the friend, and, like, they are going to defend the friend against the common enemy, okay. And so this is the thing. And NATO, some of the members of North Atlantic Treaty Organization believe that if they allow Ukraine to join NATO now, then like it will not be a war between it will not limit the war between Russia and Ukraine. It may turn out to be World War III. Okay, it may turn out to be World War III. Why? Because North Atlantic Treaty Organization itself has 31 member countries, and then Russia and Ukraine are fighting. Okay, Russia and Ukraine are fighting, and if NATO joins, what will happen? NATO joins the warfare, then like many of the allies or friends of Russia, they may also join the war, and it may lead to World War III. And like the world wants to stop any third world war from happening, because like historically we have seen that the First World War has caused huge amount of destruction to the world, and many people have been killed. Okay, after World War I, the people have created League of Nations. Okay, what we have done, we have created League of Nations, and that League of Nations was given the task of, let's say, like pacifying the country and also not allowing the Second World War to happen. But still, like League of Nations was not able to stop the Second World War from happening, and we have seen Second World War, and Second World War was more destructive than the First World War, and there has been usage of, let's say, atom bomb also. And after then, the United Nations organization has been established. The mandate of the United Nations organization is to, let's say, stop the world from having another world war. That's one of the most important part. And now we see the role of the United Nations Security Council. There are 5 permanent members in UNSC and 10 non-permanent members, okay, rotating members. One of the permanent member is Russia itself. So like any resolution that has to be passed through United Nations Security Council can be vetoed by Russia. So that's why nowadays, like we are seeing less number of articles that talks about role of United Nations Organization or UNSC in stopping a warfare between Ukraine and Russia. But the thing is, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization is in news time and again because Ukraine wants to be a member of this, and also Finland has joined as one of the member of this North Atlantic Treaty Organization. And recently, I mean, like recent meeting between let's say Prime Minister of India and the President of France, so they did not talk much about this particular thing, Russia-Ukraine war. But the thing is, like the Prime Minister of France, he has visited even Moscow. He has tried to, let's say, like meet and like speak with Russian president, okay, so that the war can be stopped through negotiation, through dialogue, through mediation. But that has not yet stopped. Okay, so this is the situation now. So like Rutu Mane has written some of the things, that China factor is there definitely, then space, climate cooperation, maritime ties, International Solar Alliance in 2015. Yeah, India and France, they were the first country to start the International Solar Alliance in 2015. Then ISRO CNES joint working group, like that. Okay, so these are some of the things. So with this, like we will move to the second topic quickly. So first topic is covered. In your free time, you can download the PDF from the description of the YouTube channel, and then you can write an answer. Okay, so like I do have a question for you. It says, discuss the nature of bilateral relationship between India and France. This question has to be written in 150 words around. It is a 10 marker question. So after writing the answer, you can share your answer copy with us at evaluation@lukmaanias.com. Okay, evaluation@lukmaanias.com. You can share your answer with us here. Okay, evaluation@lukmaanias.com. So with this, like we will move to the next topic. Hope you may have written this thing. So we will move to the next topic. Now, this is a very important topic for science and technology, environment and ecology. Okay, means this is an important topic for GS paper 3 of the mains exam. GS paper 3 of the mains exam. So let us talk about this particular topic. Okay, so syllabus reference is mentioned on the right hand side, and now we are going to discuss about this particular topic. Okay, the name of the topic is A Push for GM Mustard, Disregarding Science, the Law. Okay, disregarding science and law. So let's discuss about this topic. This is again an editorial topic, so we'll take some time and discuss it in detail, because these topics are very important for the UPSC means exam. Okay, means exam. It says the name of the topic is a push for, okay, a push for GM mustard, a push for GM mustard disregarding science, okay, disregarding science law. Now in this topic we will understand about genetically modified crop, okay. So the main theme of this particular topic is genetically modified crops. We need to understand these, okay. So if we talk about genetically modified crops, what are these crops? So these crops are made by using biotechnology, okay, by using biotechnology. And what we do gene editing, okay, we do gene editing or gene alteration, okay, gene alteration. So we alter the gene of a crop, okay. So genetically modified crops are made after altering the gene, and these genetically modified crops are little different from hybrid crops, okay. So these are different, okay, genetically modified crops are different than hybrid crops, okay, hybrid crops. These are different from hybrid crops. So this is the thing. Now if we talk about genetically modified crops, for approval of a genetically modified crop in India, we have a body which is known as Genetic Engineering Appraisal Committee, GEAC. Okay, this is the full short form of Genetic Engineering Appraisal Committee. So I am just writing it for you, Genetic Engineering, okay, Appraisal Committee. So whenever a new genetic crops comes, let's say some universities and some research institutions, some organizations, they are doing some research and development, and they have built, let's say they are building a genetic crop. So they have to take an approval from Genetic Engineering Appraisal Committee. Once the Genetic Engineering Appraisal Committee gives an approval, only then it can be used for commercial uses. And in this article, this article revolves around the GM mustard. And recently what has happened, the Delhi University, in Delhi University, they have done research and development, and they have developed, okay, what they have developed? They have developed genetically modified, okay, genetically modified mustard. And this genetically modified mustard, these mustard are being, let's say some people are pro means they are supporting, commercial use of this thing, and some people are against, okay, some people are against it, and who are the people who are against it? People who are pro, they are, let's say business owners or companies who want to make profit. And people who are against the introduction of genetically modified crops, they are some environmentalists, farmers, and other stakeholders, okay, other stakeholders like that. So these people are against it. But recently a study was conducted, okay, a study was conducted related to this GM crop. So in this article they have mentioned that the Delhi University, the Delhi University has built, okay, Delhi University has built genetically modified herbicide tolerant mustard, okay, this is known as genetically modified modified herbicide, okay, herbicide tolerant, in short HT, okay, mustard. So what is the importance of having genetically modified herbicide tolerant mustard? I mean, like if I talk about mustard seeds, okay, so many of the mustard seeds, I mean, like, you know, they are not able to survive because herbicide, okay, herbicide is kind of, let's say, like, you know, they infect, okay, the mustard varieties. So they have created genetically modified herbicide tolerant mustard, and like it will be able to tolerate the herbicides also, okay, like fungicide, herbicide, pesticide. You might have heard about pesticides, right? So this is herbicide tolerant mustard. So this particular mustard is being opposed, okay, it is being opposed. And if I talk about India, in India, like only one one genetically modified crop has been so far approved, and India has seen a robust GM crops in last 2 decades, okay, and that crop is BT cotton, okay. So BT cotton has been approved in India. So like, you know, just a minute. So in this article, what they have done, they have mentioned about, okay, GM crops in India, and it says that, like, you know, Supreme Court of India, the Supreme Court of India has established, okay, Supreme Court of India has established an expert committee that is known as Technical Expert Committee. Supreme Court of India has established Technical Expert Committee, okay. Why? Because this particular Technical Expert Committee is going to study the effect. This technical expert committee is going to study the effect of genetically modified crops to see whether the genetically modified crop, whether the GM, okay, crop or let's say, like, you know, GM mustard is safe, whether it is safe, I mean, like, for human consumption, whether, let's say, like, you know, it is safe for the soil, okay, like what effect it has. So for that, like, you know, for checking the safety things, the Supreme Court of India has established an technical expert committee for this. Apart from this, the central government has also established 2 committees, and these committees have been established in different years. One of the committee was established during the, let's say, prime ministership of Manmohan Singh, and other committee has been established during the prime ministership of Narendra Modi, and these committees are known as Standing Committee on Agriculture, okay. One of the committee that was established, okay, one of the committee that was established is known as Technical Standing Committee, okay, Technical Standing Committee on Agriculture, Committee on Agriculture, in 2012, okay. This Technical Standing Committee on Agriculture was established in 2012, and after then, like during the prime ministership of Manmohan Singh, then Standing Committee on Science Technology, okay, then other standing committees. So I'll just write down the name of this standing committee also. The other is Standing Committee on Science and Technology, Environment and Forest. Science and Technology, Environment and Forest, in 2017, okay. So these 2 committees have been, okay, these 2 committees have been established by the government of India. Why? These committees have been established to see the efficacy, see whether the genetically modified crop have some, you know, better productivity or not, to see like whether it is safe for human consumption, to see whether, like, you know, it can be used for commercialization or not. Okay, so according to the author, both of these committees have done extensive study and they have identified that genetically modified crops in India are not safe. Okay, they are not safe for human consumption, and that's why it should not be given. Okay, that's why it should not be given clearance. Okay, so these bodies have said this particular thing. Okay, these bodies have said this thing, that like it is not safe. So now it is, the onus lies on us. Okay, and recently what has happened is in the Supreme Court of India, some organization have signed up PIL. PIL stands for public interest litigation. So public interest litigation is a kind of, let's say, like you can file a case in the Supreme Court of India or in a high court. Generally it is filed in a Supreme Court of India. This public interest litigation is a new tool that has been that is Indian in nature, in the sense like Justice P.N. Bhagwati. Okay, there was a justice, his name is Justice P.N. Bhagwati. So this particular justice of the Supreme Court of India has introduced the concept of public interest litigation in India. So under public interest litigation, if you feel as a citizen that like something is going to like benefit the public at large, something is going to harm public at large, you can simply like approach a court of law by simply writing an application. You can send an email, you can write an application, you can submit a like report in front of the Supreme Court of India, and if it believes that this particular public interest litigation, if it has some value, it will take up this particular thing and they are going to, let's say, hear the cases related to it to decide upon it, right? So like there are two, like one of the organization is known as Gene Campaign. Okay, Gene Campaign is a non-profit organization. It is an NGO that has filed a public interest litigation in the Supreme Court of India against commercialization of the GM mustard. Okay, against commercialization of GM mustard, and along with this particular Gene Campaign, I mean like which is a non-profit organization or non-governmental organization, along with this there was an environmentalist also. Her name is Aruna Rodriguez. Okay, Aruna, because these names are also important. Okay, Aruna Rodriguez. Okay, she is an environmentalist and she is a party to this particular public interest litigation. Okay, in the Supreme Court of India in this particular case. Okay, so the author makes a point that like some of the stakeholders are pushing, okay, a push for GM mustard disregarding science, the law. Okay, so like scientists are also, some of the, let's say, like research scientists or technical groups, they have given their opinion against introduction of genetically modified mustard. So like these scientific reports are being, let's say, like disregarded. The laws that are in existence, they are being disregarded. Why? For pushing the genetically modified crop in India. And the author says that this is not good. Okay, this is not good, because like this is a question of public health, this is a question of safety of public, and this is a question of, let's say, livelihood for the farmers, because like if these crops are introduced, so they may tend to, let's say, like barren the land, they may like affect the land after some time, and that will have long term consequences for the farmers. Okay, so with this, like this is the end of this topic. You can read this topic in your free time to understand this well. Okay, to understand this well. So I do have two questions for you. One of the question is for the prelims exam and other is for the mains exam. So this question is related to science and technology. It says GM crops, GM means genetically modified crops. Genetically modified crops play a significant role in enhancing productivity, but environmentalists have been concerned over the past experience of GM crops. Why there is a tussle regarding introduction of GM crops in India? Highlight the pros and cons of it. Okay, so you need to write an answer to this question in 150 words, and you can share it on the same email ID that I have shared earlier. And apart from this, like I do have a question for the prelims exam for you. Okay, so it says, with reference to genetically modified crops, consider the following statements. One of the statement is BT brinjal is the first and only genetically modified crop approved for commercial cultivation in India. Okay. So this statement is wrong because it is not BT brinjal that was approved for commercial cultivation in India. It is BT cotton. Okay, it is BT cotton. So BT cotton is the first and only genetically modified crop that has been approved for commercial cultivation in India. Okay. Apart from this, second, it says Dhara mustard hybrid 11 carries a gene of herbicide resistance. Okay. Dhara mustard hybrid 11. So the Delhi University, I mean, like, you know, they have done like, you know, herbicide tolerant what genetically modified mustard. Okay, herbicide tolerant genetically modified mustard. So this one is right. Okay, so I think the correct answer, they are asking which of the above statements is or are correct. Only statement 2 will be correct. Okay, in this case statement 2 will be correct in this case. So let's see the solution once. It says answer B. Answer B means only second statement is right. Okay, first statement is wrong. All right. So you can download this PDF, and like, you know, we have given explanation also. We have you know, included some additional information along with the explanation for the first question. In your free time, you can read it after downloading the PDF from the description. So with this, like, we'll take another topic quickly. This topic says authorities who misconstrue authority. Okay, authorities who misconstrue authority. Okay, so let's discuss about this topic in detail. Authorities who misconstrue authority. Okay, so this topic is related to enforcement directorate. Okay, this topic is related to enforcement directorate, and in this article the author has made a distinction. The author has talked about the role of ED. Author has talked about you know, the function that it is performing now, function of ED that it is performing, and also the author has, you know, compared enforcement directorate versus police. Okay, enforcement directorate versus police, and the author has talked about that, like, you know, the enforcement directorate can act as a civil court also. Okay, can act as a civil court. Okay, and the enforcement directorate gets its power under Prevention of Money Laundering Act, PMLA. In short, it is known as PMLA. PMLA stands for Prevention of Money Laundering Act. Okay, so this Prevention of Money Laundering Act actually gives authority to the enforcement directorate to, let's say, inquire upon, right, cases where there can be some misconduct by some people, financial misconduct, you know, that may amount to money laundering under PMLA Act. Okay, under Prevention of Money Laundering Act 2002. So this act is 2002 Act. So in this article, the author has discussed about the, let's say, role and authority of the enforcement directorate, and the author has compared, you know, the role of enforcement directorate versus police, like what the police has to do, what the police does, and what the enforcement directorate does. Okay, so the author says, like, you know, the enforcement directorate can inquire upon a case. It can inquire upon a case, and if I talk about the police needs to register an FIR. Okay, in cases of cognizable offense. Okay, cognizable offense, they need to register an FIR, and after then they can seek custody of a person. They can seek custody of a person. they can arrest a person. What? Police, okay, police can register an FIR from a individual or from an organization, but enforcement directorate can inquire into the case. But like, you know, instead of inquiring, the enforcement directorate is doing you know, investigation. It is doing investigation, okay, it is doing investigation. So this is a misconstrued authority, means like an authority that it has, you know, assumed for itself. The author says that enforcement directorate has assumed for itself the authority that it is an investigating authority. But like, you know, the Prevention of Money Laundering Act, it gives authority to this enforcement directorate to inquire upon, to see whether, like, you know, some money laundering activity has been there or not. And for that purpose, it can let's say search, and it can do seizure, and it can attach. Attach means, let's say, if it finds that, you know, that someone was involved into money laundering, so like, you know, they can use PMLA Act, and like, you know, they can let's say this enforcement directorate can act as a civil court, okay, it can act as a civil court in that matter. So it does have authority to act as a civil court. But, you know, there are distinction between the authority of a police and the authority of enforcement directorate. In case of police, they need to register an FIR, and after then they have to produce a document to the culprit for arresting him. I mean, like, you know, they have to produce a document. So I will also write down the name of the document in case of enforcement directorate, and in case of this thing, what we say, in case of police, okay. So the police, like, you know, enforcement directorate like files this thing is enforcement case information report, okay. So enforcement directorate enforcement case information report. So I am writing it here. Enforcement case information report. So the enforcement directorate, you know, files enforcement case information report, and the police registers an FIR. But, like, you know, the police produces this FIR to a person before arresting him. But in case of enforcement directorate, it is seldom available. So the author has compared these two things also, and the author makes it a point that, like, you know, he talks about, you know, some of the legal terms. These legal terms is sui generis, okay, sui generis. So those people who are attending it online, they can write down the meaning of sui generis over here, or in your free time you need to find out their meaning. Then apart from this, this is another word, sine qua non, okay, sui generis, sine qua non. Identify and write it in the this thing, what we say, comment section. What is the meaning of sui generis and sine qua non cases, okay, what is the meaning of this? And also in this article, I mean, like, the author has talked about a case, okay, it has talked about a case, like, you know, in which the Supreme, like Vijay Mandal Chaudhary versus Union of India, okay, name of the case is Vijay Mandal Chaudhary versus Union of India, okay, versus Union of India in the year of 2002, okay. So we'll talk about this particular case also, that's related to this. Why this enforcement directorate is time and again is in news? Because enforcement directorate have registered cases against many high profile people, right, you know, that includes, let's say, some of the top level ministers of Delhi government, that includes, I mean, Satyendra Jain, Manish Sisodia, and also former minister from Shiv Sena, Nawab Malik, and principal secretary to Kerala Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan, okay. Means, like, you know, enforcement directorate has let's say lodged cases against very high profile people, and like they have, let's say, arrested many people. So that's why, and ED is also being criticized. Okay, ED is being criticized that like ED is now becoming a caged parrot, similar to Enforcement Directorate is becoming a caged parrot. Okay, caged parrot similar to CBI, caged parrot similar to the Central Bureau of Investigation. Okay, it is becoming a caged parrot. Why? Because the Enforcement Directorate, ED, is being used. Okay, ED is being used by the existing government to target the opposition parties. Okay, to target the opposition party members, So this is one of the, let's say, criticism of ED, of Enforcement Directorate, and this is like criticism on the functioning of the Enforcement Directorate. So this particular author has been this particular author is like is a lawyer, and like he has mentioned about very important things. So it says that like the Supreme Court has held that ED authorities are not police officers. It observed in Vijay Mandal Chaudhary versus Union of India, okay, Vijay Mandal Chaudhary versus Union of India, that the process envisaged by the section 50 of the PMLA, PMLA means Prevention of Money Laundering Act, okay, PMLA is in the nature of inquiry against the proceeds of crime and is not investigation in a strict sense of the term for initiating prosecution. Okay, so in this particular case, the Supreme Court of India has observed that section 50, okay, section 50 of the Prevention of Money Laundering Act, okay, PMLA Act, Prevention of Money Laundering Act, gives authority to the Enforcement Directorate to conduct inquiry but not act as an investigating agency in a strict sense, okay, in this particular case. So this case law is very important, because like if you get a question in the mains exam related to Enforcement Directorate or related to, let's say, like a CBI, in that case you can mention these case laws also in your answer. So that will help you to strengthen your quality of your answer, okay, that will help you to strengthen quality of your answer. So this is the thing. So it says of late much of the ED's powers have been discharged in effecting pre-trial arrest, which used to be prerogative of the police investigating the predicate offence. Simply it says that Enforcement Directorate has been used, okay, it has been used or misused for doing pre-trial arrest, means like arrest, they do the arrest first and later on they start the trial. Okay, this should not be the case. I mean, like police should be doing the arrest part, okay, police should be doing the arrest part, but like Enforcement Directorate is doing the arrest. So this is all, okay, this is all in this case, in this article. So you can read this article in your free time to understand it well, okay. So like you can download this particular thing from the description itself. And after this we have another topic, okay, we have another topic. It says India-UAE deal to trade with rupee. Okay, so this article is an ongoing issue, is an ongoing article. Okay, so we will be quick in discussing this article. It says India United Arab Emirates deal to trade with rupee. Deal to trade with rupee, okay, India and United Arab Emirates. So recently the Prime Minister of India has visited, okay, the United Arab Emirates, and in his visit India and UAE has agreed upon two things. One of the important thing is there was an agreement between the Reserve Bank of India and Central Bank of, okay, Central Bank of the United Arab Emirates. Okay, these two banks have agreed, they have signed, what they have done, they have signed memorandum of understanding. Okay, they have signed memorandum of understanding for what purpose? For doing for allowing the this is known as bilateral, okay, bilateral agreement for INR and this Arab Emirates dirham, okay, AED. AED stands for dirham. So dirham is the currency that is used in United Arab Emirates. So that there was a bilateral agreement that the exchange of money can happen between these two countries, between India and United Arab Emirates through INR AED. It is a bilateral agreement. I mean, they do not need any third currency like let's say dollar for doing the settlements. And for that purpose, what they have done for that purpose, so they have signed an agreement. The name of the agreement is I will be simply writing local currency settlement system, okay. So they are going to establish something which is known as local currency, okay, local currency settlement system. They are going to establish local currency settlement system, LCSS, okay, for allowing bilateral exchange of currencies between US dollar and AED, okay, between INR and AED, okay. So this is the thing. So it will bring down, what is the benefit of this particular thing, okay. The rationale behind doing the first thing is, rationale or benefit is, it will bring down the transaction time, okay, transaction time will get reduced, it will reduce. Along with this, the transaction cost will also go down, okay, transaction cost will go down, and it will make it easier, okay, it will make it easier for people to do the transaction, okay, through this local currency settlement system. So this is one of the memorandum of understanding, that was signed between this Reserve Bank of India and the Central Bank of United Arab Emirates, okay. This is one of the thing. And if I talk about the second memorandum of understanding, the second memorandum of understanding is is related to UPI and IPP, okay, UPI and IPP. UPI means Unified Payment Interface, and of let's say UAE, it is instant payment platform. So Unified Payment Interface is of India, and this instant payment platform is of United Arab Emirates, okay. So they will build a system, they will build a settlement system, okay, they will build a system where a robust platform can be built for doing transaction in UPI and IPP. UPI means Unified Payment Interface, and it is by one of the organization in India. NPCI means National Payments Corporation of India Limited, and from the UAE it is this is known as the instant payment platform, okay. And they will use for this, they will use the RuPay, okay, RuPay, they will use RuPay switch, and okay, they will use RuPay switch, and they will use UAE switch, okay, UAE switch, okay. They are going to use these things, RuPay switch and UAE switch, for doing the transaction in this thing. And already India has let's say allowed many foreign currencies to be to be transferred, or remittances to happen through UPI model to 10 different countries, and name of those countries I I'm going to mention, okay. India has already established a system where it has allowed transaction to be done, it has allowed transaction to be done, right. with 10 countries. Okay, so it has done it with 10 countries. I am just writing the name of these countries. Okay, so already this particular UPI ecosystem is existing, okay, in which 10 countries are there. I am going to write these countries names. It may be asked in the prelims exam, so that's why I am giving time to write this. Okay, I am giving time to write this. So this is like, you know, one of the countries: Singapore, Australia, Canada, Singapore, Australia, Canada. Okay, Singapore, Australia, Canada, Oman, Qatar, Oman, Qatar, okay, Oman, Qatar, the US, Saudi Arabia, the United States of America, then Saudi Arabia, okay, Saudi Arabia. Apart from this, the UAE, comma, the UK and Hong Kong, okay, the UK and Hong Kong. So we have already established our UPI ecosystem, right, for other countries also, and these are, name of these countries are mentioned: Singapore, Australia, Canada, Oman, Qatar, the US, Saudi Arabia, UAE, the UK and Hong Kong. Okay, so you may need to, let's say, remember these names also. Okay, so this is the thing, and this is a very important like information. And the World Bank has also recently mentioned that the migration and development brief, like, you know, the World Bank has a report. So this is an additional information, may be helpful for the prelims exam. Okay, World Bank report. World Bank report. Report means this particular report is released by the World Bank, and name of this particular report is Migration and, like, you know, development brief. Migration and development brief. Development brief. So this is the name of the report, Migration and Development Brief. This report is released by the World Bank, and, like, you know, the report that was previously released by World Bank, it says that those people who have migrated from one country to another country, and if these people are working in blue collar jobs, I mean, like, they are working in low paying, you know, less paying jobs, in that case they find it very difficult to remit the amount, to send some money to their hometown, to send some money to their loved ones in their own country, because the cost of transaction is very high. And citing this particular report, the author over here says that, you know, this particular system that is existing, this system is going to bring down, right, the transaction cost for the low paying job. And you know, from India, huge number of people are going and living in United Arab Emirates. Many people, I mean, like, you know, they go and live in United Arab Emirates. So that's all in this article. So with this, like, we will move to the next topic quickly. Okay, so these topics are short topics. It's this is a topic from, let's say, like, you know, health related aspects. It is important for the prelims exam, because in this topic they have talked about India's report. India has reported a record 93% DPT-3 immunization coverage in 2022. It is said by the World Health Organization. WHO stands for World Health Organization. So World Health Organization has recently said that India has reported 93% immunization of this DPT. What is DPT? DPT stands for, let's say, like, you know, 3 diseases. One of the diseases diphtheria. Okay, one of the diseases diphtheria. Other is pertussis. Okay, other is pertussis. Then third is tetanus. Tetanus. So the immunization, the third dose, okay, third dose of immunization of DPT, which is diphtheria, pertussis, tetanus, has increased, like, you know, pre-pandemic level was 91%. Now it is 93%. Okay, so this was recently said by the World Health Organization. So this is just a pointer for the prelims exam. You can just like mention this somewhere so that you can remember this. Okay, they have also given some data related to it. Apart from this, we have another topic quickly. Okay, few topics are remaining. They are short for prelims exam. I'll just like touch upon these topics. So this is a topic which is related to art and culture. Okay, art and culture, and this topic is important for the prelims examination. So it says a fascinating fusion of rock art in Andhra Pradesh, Rudragiri. Okay, so where it is found? It is found in Rudragiri hillock. Okay, in Rudragiri they have, let's say, like these rocks and all. There they have identified fascinating fusion of rock art. Rock art means like art forms that are made on the rock surfaces. Like if you read the NCERT book, 11th standard fine arts NCERT book, the first chapter talks about the rock art, right, prehistoric art. So there you will be coming across this. So in this article they have talked about Rudragiri hillock, and they have identified some of the rock paintings, okay, historic rock paintings, and they belong to Mesolithic period. Okay, they belong to Mesolithic period and exquisite artwork from Kakatiya dynasty also. Okay, so this time period is important. You know that we have let's say Neolithic, Paleolithic, Paleolithic, Mesolithic, Neolithic period. So like this particular rock art belongs to the Mesolithic period, and they have also mentioned Yagna Vedi, fire altar, captures visitors' attention. Sankha, I mean they have used some of these keywords, and these art forms belong to 5000 BC. Okay, BC means before Christ. Okay, before Christ. Now we are in 2023 AD. Okay, we are in 2023 AD. So we need to go back 1 AD, and from there we need to go back 5000 years. We need to go back 5000 years. So these art forms, right, these rock art forms, they are roughly around 7000 year old art forms that are still found. So that's why it is very fascinating. Okay, that's why it is very fascinating. You can read this article in your free time, and then you can solve the question. Okay, so this is the thing. You also need to read the NCERT book Fine Arts chapter 1 to understand more about it. All right, so then another topic, it says renaming Satara's unwanted girls, how sons are still preferred over daughters. Okay, this article is related to Indian society part, where we in this article we will talk about the preference of son among families, right, in some of the lower income groups. So in lower income groups, people prefer to have sons because sons are the ones who are going to carry forward the lineage of the family, and also they are the ones who are going to take care of their elderly, take care of their parents. So that's why in many rural areas people still believe that the daughters are cursed for them. They believe that sons are going to be helpful for them in their old ages also. So that's why many people have named their daughter in such a manner that these names resemble that these their daughters are unwanted, and these names are Nakoshi, Naukasha and Nakusha. Okay, means like this is example, and they have taken the example of Satara district in Maharashtra. Okay, there is a prevalence of, let's say, girls naming like this, they are unwanted, and the author talks about a government programs that discuss that talks about a tokenization approach. Means the government of India has recently conducted some surveys. They have conducted some campaigns, and in that campaigns this is renaming campaign. I mean they are renaming the girl child so that their name resemble positivity instead of negativity. Okay, so in this article they say that the negative names like unwanted, these are negative connotation for girls. So government of India has started a campaign so that renaming of girls can be done, and here the author says just renaming girls will not do any good to the society over there. The government has to come up with more farm policies so that these girls can be benefited, so that the mindset of the people can be converted, so that they feel that the girls and boys are equal. Okay, so in your free time you can read this article to understand about this. Okay, so this is from Indian society perspective. Okay, anyone who has sociology optional, for them it is a case for studying. Okay, it is a case for studying. So that's the thing. Again, there is another topic. This topic is important under Indian polity. It says NIA attaches, okay, NIA attaches poultry farm in IAS inspired group case. Okay, NIA stands for National Investigating Agency. Okay, NIA stands for National Investigating Agency. So National Investigating Agency have arrested many people who were connected with the poultry farm, and they have suspected that many people who were connected with this poultry farm, they are let's say inspired by this IS group. Okay, IS means like Islamic State group. Okay, so like they have filed charge sheet against some of the people, they have arrested them. So this is just a prelim pointer talking about this particular thing, but we do have a question on this particular topic for you. Okay, this question is for you. It says, with reference to the National Investigating Agency, consider the following statements. One of the statement, it says NIA functions under the Ministry of Home Affairs. National Investigating Agency functions under Ministry of Home Affairs. Then second, the law under which the agency operates do not applies to Indian citizens outside country. Third, under section 11 and 22 of the NIA Act 2008, the central government constitutes one or more special courts for trial of scheduled offences. Fourth statement, NIA was established in the wake of 26/11 Mumbai terror attack of 2008. Okay, so you need to identify which of these statements are right. You need to identify and you need to solve this question in your free time. Okay, we have given an explanation to this question also. Okay, we have given an explanation also for this question. So in this question, only the statement 2 is incorrect. Okay, all other statements 1, 3 and 4, they are correct. Okay, all are correct except 2. It means NIA functions under the Ministry of Home Affairs. Then under section these things, NIA, the central government constitutes one or more special courts for the trial of scheduled offences. Then NIA was established in the wake of 26/11 national the Mumbai terror attack. Okay, so terror attack has happened in Mumbai in 2008. So many people have been arrested, and that attack was state sponsored. Okay, so you can go through the detail in your free time. So we have another topic quickly. It says Vijay Sampla quits as NCSC chief. What is NCSC? NCSC stands for National Commission for Scheduled Caste. Okay, National Commission for Scheduled Castes. So the chairperson of this particular commission has, let's say, stepped down. He has tendered his resignation. Why? Because he want to, let's say, he want to contest in 2014 Lok Sabha elections. Okay, from Punjab. He is a let's say politician from BJP, and earlier also he had contested in election. That time he stepped down, resigned. And after he lost the election, then he was re-elected as the chairman of this particular body. So this topic is related to that one only. Okay, National Commission for Scheduled Caste, and there is a question for you on this topic, right? And you know that this is a constitutional body. National Commission for Scheduled Caste is a constitutional body, and we have a question to discuss with you quickly. With reference to the National Commission for Scheduled Caste, consider the following statements. It says NCSC is a constitutional body in India. Second, under Article 233, it shall be the duty of the special officer to investigate all matters related to scheduled caste and report it to the President. This is incorrect, because this is Article 238, okay, not 233. Third, the 5th schedule of the constitution deals with the administration and control of scheduled caste. Okay. So how many statements are incorrect? They are asking how many are incorrect. Okay, we need to identify how many of these statements are incorrect. So only one statement is incorrect, means only second statement is incorrect. Okay, only second statement means answer would be 1 only, because we need to identify whether we need to identify correct or incorrect. Okay, so that's all. Solution is given over here. Okay. So this is another topic. It says tracking the new railway proposal for Kerala. Okay, Kerala, you know, it is a state having, let's say, hilly areas, let's say like valley areas, and there the trains that are running, generally the speed of the trains is less than 50 kilometers an hour. And Kerala have been proposing, let's say, new trains, I mean faster trains, but like, you know, those proposals have not been accepted earlier because of high cost. And recently the, I mean, like, you know, he is also known as Metro Man of India, that E. Sridharan. He like, you know, he has interacted with the representative of Kerala, and he has proposed, like, you know, a train project. And in this article they have discussed about a silver line project. Okay, a silver line project. So silver line project is related to train. Okay, high speed train. Okay. So like we have just cut this article into two parts. The right part is in the second page, right? You can read it in your free time. And like this is a question for you. What is the Silver Line project? It says a high speed rail project connecting major cities in United States. This is wrong. Second, a network of underground tunnels for transportation. This is wrong. An underwater pipeline. This is wrong. A planned light rail system connecting suburbs in metropolitan area in India. This is right. Okay, option D is correct in this question. Okay, so this question I am discussing. In your free time, just download this PDF and go through the question. Okay, so solution is option D. So that's all from my side for the day. Thank you so much everyone for attending today's session, and I hope you have a good day ahead. Thank you. Thank you so much, Rutu.